With over 20 years of experience running my creative businesses, I know the joy and the struggles of being your own boss. Join me and our guests for business insights, life lessons, and the stories behind our successes and the lessons of our missteps, so you can work smart, get creative inspiration, live joyfully, and feel connected. I'm your host, Nicole Stevenson, the CEO and Creative Director of Dear Handmade Life, which produces Patchwork Show Makers Festival and Craftcation Conference, as well as a blog, online learning, and this podcast. If you're a creative misfit or a passionate small business owner, grab a drink and come sit with me, because you're exactly where you need to be. Hello friends, it is Nicole here with another solo episode. So if you're listening, a regular listener, we did a solo episode 2 weeks ago. I rarely do these, but I had such a great time that I wanted to do another one. And this week we're going to talk about goal getting. I didn't say goal setting, I did say goal getting, although goal setting is completely a part of goal getting. So we'll be talking about goal setting too. And we're also going to talk about task planning, and I'm going to share 4 of my goal getting tips with you. So, as someone, i.e. me, who goes after those nagging little shoulds like drinking more water and those annoying tasks like getting your inbox to 0, and also those bold leaps like starting your own business, let me tell you that there is no magic potion or nose wiggle to make it all happen. But it is 100% possible to change your habits. Anyone else out there have daily meditation or exercise on the back of your to-dos? You can also tackle those daily tasks that you keep putting off. Like, what's that thing that's always on your list that you keep pushing to tomorrow and then tomorrow and tomorrow? And you can also start pursuing that bold, scary thing that you know you want to go after, but you just haven't been able to start, or maybe you've started it and then your momentum fades. Over the years, I have changed my life in really big and also small, yet surprisingly meaningful ways through getting in touch with what I really want and then devising an action plan to get it and then bringing it all to fruition. I've turned everything that I know about goal getting into a program, then added the support of a small group for accountability and guidance, craft classes to help you tap into that right brain flow, business classes to give you the skills you need to level up, and wellness activities to help you take care of yourself during the process. And that program is called Camp Dear Handmade Life. Before I share my goal-getting tips, I want to remind you that next week, registration opens up for Camp Dear Handmade Life, which is our 6-week at-home craft, business, goal-getting, and community-building virtual summer camp experience for creatives. In just a few hours a day, you can start working towards your next bold, beautiful transformation. Camp Dear Handmade Life will help you get in touch with what you really want, devise an action plan to get it, and then bring it all to fruition through our Goal Getting for Creatives weekly itinerary. You will also learn from 26 live and replay business and craft classes, plus take care of yourself with wellness activities like yoga, meditation, and journaling. And you'll be custom matched to a virtual cabin where you'll meet weekly with your cabin mates for accountability, support, and activities. Plus, we will close with a 3-day online summit featuring live expert-led business and craft classes with interactive discussions, wellness sessions, and online social gatherings, and so much more. Right now, you can join the Camp Dear Handmade Life waiting list at dearhandmadelife.com/camp-DHL. Tickets are going on sale next week on April 1st at 9:00 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, now let's talk goal getting, and I'm going to share some of my tips that have helped me achieve my big goals. First of all, you need to know that I have always been a goal getter. I have had a day planner since I was in elementary school. I was obsessed with my mom's day planner. She had her own house cleaning business, and I remember just loving seeing how her work schedule was laid out in her planner, like all of her customers' names and, who were her helpers that day. I feel like there was a lot of uncertainty and anxiety in my childhood. Later, I found out that it was because I had obsessive compulsive disorder and anxiety, but back then, I just knew that I found comfort in seeing things laid out on a calendar or in a planner, like in my mom's calendar or planner. So when my mom met my dad, who's technically my stepdad, that first Easter, he gave me this amazing purple radio that was like this 1980s style. People actually buy them vintage on eBay now, and I wish I still had mine. So he gave me this amazing purple radio, but he also gave me my first set of Pentel markers. All the kids at the private school that I went to had Pentel markers, and I had been dreaming of having my own set. Of course, these markers were super expensive, and the parents of the wealthy kids at school probably didn't even think about the price. But for my parents, who were, self-employed hard workers, it was a total investment, but they bought me those markers. They always made sure that I had not just the things that I needed, but the ones I wanted. So I finally got those markers, marrying that with the whole thing with my mom's planner, my love of planners. I remember using those markers to embellish my to-do list. It was just like my favorite thing was getting my new planner and then taking my markers and writing my to-do list and planning everything out and setting everything out in my planner. And I would always, practice it first and write it and rewrite it like a half a dozen times until like I had it perfect, and then I would copy it into my planner. I don't know if there were any other like baby planner nerds out there like me. I know that not every other sixth grader practiced their penmanship for fun and begged for like one of those Franklin Covey weekly planner things that I had, or got that same sense of pride that I got when I added a little sticker next to something on my list, which was my kid version of like crossing off a to-do. I would add a little sticker next to it. But as an adult, I have gone through so many different types of the classic weekly paper planner, which was my favorite. I loved those classic weekly paper planners. Weekly paper planner, that's kind of a fun thing to say. Until I got on board with Google Calendar. And with Google Calendar, I set up my repeating tasks I set them up to repeat. And it saves me so much time because I don't have to think about adding things like accounting or social media planning or any of the other regular tasks to my calendar. They're already there. And I love being able to space out my to-do list over the course of, days, weeks, months, even years. Okay, all of this about my planner is me talking about tasks, and tasks are actually what we break goals down into. So this is bringing me to my very first tip for goal setting, which is taking those big goals and those big projects and breaking them down into the smallest tasks that you possibly can, and then spacing them out over a realistic period. So let's take, for example, if you were launching a new product and maybe on your to-dos was to design the product, to make samples, and then to add the samples to the website. That's a very high level breakdown. But what I'm talking about is taking that and breaking it way down to like the lowest common denominator sort of a breakdown. So let's take that last task on that list, which was add samples to the website, and let's break it down real low. Okay, so add samples to the website. What do you have to do to get there? Well, one of the things is to take photos of the samples. So now we're going to break that down. So to take photos of the samples, you need to outline your shots, gather your props and equipment, take the photos, edit the photos, and upload the photos. So the reason that we break things down into those smaller tasks and then space them out is because it not only takes away the stress and feeling that you're overwhelmed, but it also makes the likelihood of completing the tasks way, way higher. So think about if your task was launch a new product. Well, that feels very overwhelming. But when we're breaking that down, and let's say the task was upload photos to website, it's like, okay, yeah, I can get that done in an hour or two. So that's what we're talking about, is getting it from that big, big goal that really feels impossible, overwhelming. It's like, how am I going to do this? To breaking it down into these little bite-sized manageable chunks that don't require as much motivation and go-get-emness as trying to do this big, 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 big thing. So once I break down the tasks into these little bitty ones, then I add them to my Google Calendar, and I usually put, a couple tasks on a day, sometimes one task if it's already a busy day, in that calendar. Okay, so that was about taking our big goals, breaking them down to little bite-sized chunks, and then taking those bite-sized chunks and dispersing them amongst your calendar. Because if you put all the bite-sized chunks on one day, why do we even break it down in the first place? Okay, for the next tip, we're going to step back a little bit and talk about how we got those goals in the first place that we're breaking down into tasks. So Second tip is you want to explore and set your goals often. Goal setting is absolutely not a set it and forget it thing. Goals are living, breathing things that evolve with us as we grow and change. Does anybody remember their big life dream in middle school? For me, I desperately wanted a red Mazda Miata and I wanted to be a college professor. At that time, driving that tiny red convertible to an ivy-covered brick campus to teach was like seriously my end-all be-all. If I would have kept pursuing that life instead of examining how what I had wanted had changed, I would be stuck with a job that did not let me tap into my zone of genius and driving a car that I could barely fit into. I know my head would be hitting the ceiling in there. Holding on to your old goals is often what makes people unhappy. People get stuck in the job that was perfect for them 5 years ago, but they aren't sure what to do next, so they stay there. Same thing goes for relationships. People get stuck with a partner that was maybe perfect for them 10 years ago. Maybe you're a growing person, your partner isn't. Time goes on. You feel stuck there. You don't know what to do next. People also keep running their businesses the same way they did when they started, when really, as time goes on, you should be focusing on delegating and adding systems, and then you would wonder why you're overworked and battling burnout, because you were doing things the way you did them when you started out. Can't keep doing it like that. So you need to make a commitment to yourself to assess and reassess your goals often. I like to check in with small goals, daily, weekly, monthly, and big goals, monthly, quarterly, yearly. You can even do 2 years, 5 years. For me, that's a bit much to go out that far. And then you want to set a reminder in your calendar on your phone and set a date with yourself to explore, adjust, and prioritize your goals. So the same way you would put, a reminder in your phone for a birthday or something like that, you want to set it in your calendar, like goal setting time, whatever that time is for you. Once a week to look back, once a month, quarterly, yearly, whatever. And if you're planning on joining us at Camp Dear Handmade Life this summer, you will spend the second week of the Camp Dear Handmade Life virtual cabin experience working through my system for getting your goals out of your head, examining, prioritizing, and adjusting them, and starting work to strengthen your risk-taking muscle so that you can start to take action towards your goals with confidence. Okay, next tip, don't do it alone. Like the great Brene Brown says, we don't have to do all of it alone. We were never meant to. Yes, Brene, yes. Checking in with someone to get the support and feedback that you need doesn't just make the journey more fun, but it seriously increases your chances of getting to the finish line. The American Society of Training and Development did a study on accountability, and they found that you have a 65% greater chance of completing a goal if you commit to someone. And if you have a specific accountability appointment with a person that you've committed to, you will increase your chance of success by up to 95%. Hello? Why wouldn't we have an accountability partner or have someone there to help support us if we can increase our chance of success by 95%? Having an accountability partner or an accountability group or an accountability pod is key to turning your ambitions into your achievements. And this is why we created the Camp Dear Handmade Life virtual cabins, which is, honestly, it's my favorite part of Camp Dear Handmade Life. We have taken the expert guidance of a mastermind group, the creative collaboration of a craft club, and the support of an accountability partnership program and has zippered them all up together to make our Camp Dear Handmade Life cabins. When you register for Camp Dear Handmade Life, you'll answer a few questions and then we'll custom match you with the perfect cabin mates that will support you through your journey during Camp Dear Handmade Life and beyond. Okay, now it's time for my last tip, which is mix the woo-woo with the practical. So I really do like a little woo-woo in my life. I mean, I'm definitely not heading into my backyard to charge my amethyst crystal in the moonlight, although if that is your thing, please go for it. But I have been known to use mantras and visualizations. So whereas many woo-woo things don't have scientific data to back up their promises, visualization actually does. athletes have been using visualization techniques to increase their performance for like pretty much forever. I am not into sports, but I love hearing about how athletes increase their performance, because a lot of those things you can use with creativity or business or any other part of life. And one of my favorite studies about this is where student athletes positively visualize themselves performing lifts in their training regimen. The results compared to the athletes who did not, the participants who positively visualized had a significant increase in the weight that they moved during a lift. Okay, so basically what happened is some of the athletes did a visualization exercise where they were visualizing themselves doing the exercises that they were going to have to do for reals in real life. The other ones didn't. The group that visualized had a 10 to 15 increase in the weight that they moved, while the control group only demonstrated a 5-pound increase. I mean, that is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable. But this is the important thing to remember. Those athletes did not just like lay in bed eating fried chicken and mint chip ice cream or salted caramel ice cream or BLTs or whatever delicious thing you might have on your mind right now while doing their visualization exercises. They added visualization to their regular regimen. Visualization does not do the work for you. You do the work. Visualization helps increase your return on investment of the work that you do. This is why at Camp Dear Handmade Life, we pair proven techniques like visualization with practical tools like setting SMART goals. It's about that harmony of the pragmatic with the woo-woo. So, even if you're not a planner nerd like me, if you are listening to this episode, chances are you are a goal setter. Whether they're daily goals that you jot down on a sticky note or on a napkin or in Google Calendar, or they're big goals that you chronicle in your journal, or that are still in your head that you're like marinating on in your daydreams or thinking about when you first wake up in the morning or in the middle of the night. I hope that my tips help you take your goals from dream to done. And if you're looking for some goal setting guidance and some goal getting guidance and accountability paired with craft and business classes, join us at Camp Dear Handmade Life, where you'll get the tools and the permission that you need to escape your everyday routine, reconnect with yourself and your creativity, say goodbye to the habits that aren't serving you, and bring on the action items that will. You can take a tour of Camp Dear Handmade Life at dearhandmadelife.com/camp-dhl. I cannot wait to spend the summer with you at Camp Dear Handmade Life, but in the meantime, I hope these tips get you started, and I will see you next week for an exciting episode about discovering and loving your unique style with Katie Cortman. See you then. Good reviews of our podcast not only help new listeners find us, but when I read your sweet words, I feel like I've just opened a pristine set of watercolor paints, or discovered a secret season of The Office, or the bobbin on my sewing machine is full, and my inbox is empty and all the laundry is clean. In other words, I feel really good. If you're loving this podcast, let us know by leaving us a review on iTunes. To thank you, we'll pick one random reviewer every month to win access to one of our online workshops. You can choose from photo styling, craft show success, sketchbook adventures, or the home artisan bar. We'll announce the winner at the beginning of the first episode of the month. If you win, be sure to email us hello@dearhandmadelife.com so we can hook you up with your new workshop. The Dear Handmade Life podcast is produced by Seth Stanton. Head to dearhandmadelife.com for episode archives, show notes, more creativity, business know-how, and community.